Hey everybody, Scott Luton with Supply Chain Now, along with my very special rock and roll guest host, Christine Barnhart. Christine, how you doing?
I'm doing well. How about you, Scott?
I am doing wonderful. We're here in Columbus, Ohio at the CHAINge North America 2025 event, powered by our friends at ASCM and really lots of other entities. And we're here with Amy Augustine, Vice President of Operations and Supply Chain with Champro, also a board member with ASCM. Hey Amy, how you doing?
I'm good. Hi Scott. Hi Christine.
Great to see you, a fellow Manchester City football fan.
Yes.
I'm a new one as of like 2 minutes ago. So you have to give me all the ins and outs.
Football is fantastic. Premier League, the games are exciting. It's on a whole different level than watching like a football game or a baseball game here in the US. Everyone's invested. They cheer for their team. They watch every single moment. It's amazing.
It sounds like a Cincinnati Bengals fan that I know.
That's true.
That's true. It's true. But she is right. We got to go to a FC Cincinnati game last summer.
Okay.
And a completely different experience from a football game. Like these fans are invested. You're correct.
That's a good word.
Yeah.
Invested and highly engaged. Okay. So let's talk supply chain. Let's start with understanding for the three people out there that may be new to Champro. Tell us about the organization and your role there.
Sure. So I am the Vice President of Operations and Supply Chain. Champro makes sporting goods and sports uniforms. So as a mother of a 10-year-old boy, this is really exciting because it's a sports industry, and now I can really engage with my son and his friends and really learning what sports are.
Cool.
My role is I'm going to be owning supply chain end-to-end there, along with facilities, and we won't talk about that today. But for me, I've been hired there to transform the supply chain. We've had immense growth over the past few years, and we need to now start scaling our supply chain for now and the future as the growth continues. So I'm really excited about this opportunity and what I get to do to transform the supply chain.
Outstanding. Man, it's one thing to optimize a supply chain organization, but then to scale it and grow it and provide opportunities for new team members, but also development, advancement opportunities for current team members. Christine,
It's also been interesting to listen to her as she started, because I didn't know there was a whole supply chain coming in from the Dominican Republic on the uniform side of the business. Like I kind of thought everything was coming out of Asia, quite frankly. So it's been interesting.
It is. I tell you, the sourcing shifts over the years has been, I need a big whiteboard to track them all. But, you know, it's been really exciting and has opened opportunities for a variety of folks. So congrats on the growth and success and what lies ahead. So, Christine, where are we going next with Amy?
Well, I mean, love your new role, but you spent 17 years with US Cellular. So I would love for you to talk a little bit about like, what were your biggest accomplishments? What are the things that you are the proudest of over that 17-year career?
Okay, so I know we're going to talk about reverse logistics in a bit. So I'm going to talk about my last accomplishment I had there at US Cellular. So I led our network supply chain as my last role. And in that role, I had responsibility from everything from strategic sourcing and procurement to reverse logistics for anything that went into building and maintaining our wireless infrastructure. So if you think macro towers, small cells on the light poles, went through my team. When I first was promoted into that role, we didn't have any supply chain processes. So I had, on the operational side, a manager and 4 analysts, and they were like order takers, and they basically did what engineering told them to buy, right? Horrible way to run a business. Our warehouses were chock full of inventory, horrible use of working capital. And so I had to go in and transform the supply chain. And it meant putting in a planning and forecasting team, an inventory operations team, and a warehousing and logistics team, along with a huge change management track, because this was a big change for our partners in engineering, our partners in accounting and finance, and then the folks that were currently on my team, right? And so it was a lot of fun, a lot of hard work. We learned a lot, we made some mistakes, but it was fantastic. And we got our inventory down. We were starting to go towards just-in-time ordering and had a much better use of working capital that made our finance and accounting partners very happy.
Yes. Well, you know, and to your point, you made it about halfway through your response. If everything's working, either you're not trying hard enough, or you might be Christine Barnhart. Right? But seriously, we got to experiment. Everything's not going to work. This is not a 1 + 1 = 2 type of industry. And I loved, that sounds like quite a chapter, a successful chapter, prior to the cool things you're doing now. Christine, any comments on what you heard there from Amy?
No, I mean, I've known Amy for a while, so she's a firecracker in supply chain. So I'm not surprised by all the great work that she really did at US Cellular, and I can't wait to watch this journey that she's on with Champro.
Okay, me neither. We'll have to have you back.
Yeah.
So sounds like you've been inducted to the Christine Barnhart Firecracker Club. Is
Oh,
that
yeah.
right, Amy?
I guess so.
You're right. Okay, it comes with some serious responsibilities.
It does.
Okay.
We can trademark that for you, the
yes.
supply chain firecracker.
I like that.
We've got to do it.
Will.
From the supply chain whisperer.
That's right.
Lots of firecrackers. Okay, so we're going to build on what you just shared there, because you've got a strong track record of driving change and transformation, success and opportunities, and you keep it real. Going back to what, if it doesn't work, we're going to kind of dissect it, learn from it. So let's talk about right now in this, supply chain, global supply chain is always complexity. What we're going through now, as I've been reminded by dear friend Scott, if it wouldn't be a trade war, it'd be something else. That's how it works, right? But what would be your advice to the supply chain leaders out there that are looking for calm end results amidst the sea of chaos and complexity? What would be your advice?
I think my advice is just to take a step back, take a deep breath, and figure out, you don't have to solve it all yourself, right? That's why we hire smart people to work for us, right?
Yes.
So you got to build that team that's going to be innovative and help you come up with these creative solutions to solve for the problems, right? And those solutions have to be flexible. You don't want to get stuck I solved for something for today, and then, oh my gosh, tomorrow it's another issue that you have to deal with. So really being creative, letting your team be flexible and innovative, and giving them that space to do it. And just, like I said before, you might fail, but you're gonna learn from it, right? And then you pivot and you try something else.
And I think it's also about organizations like ASCM, right? Places that you can go and get best practices, get frameworks, get ideas for how to make improvements, and connect with other practitioners that are on that journey too. Yeah.
Like this event, right? Walking around, networking, talking to others that may be in, not the same industry, but work in, apparel, right? Which is a very close industry. I mean, we have apparel, but we're not creating stuff that people wear every day, right? So
I want to go back to talent. I love your focus on talent. And, something we heard in earlier sessions, leaning on the team, giving them the space to come up with their ideas and bring solutions back rather than dictating. It's one of my favorite parts about the modern day approach to leadership, right? I mean, there's a reason why going to the Gemba became such a thing, because they're the experts. Yes, there's blessed folks on the front line that make it happen every day, to the folks on planning teams. I mean, you name it. What are they thinking? And oftentimes, let's see if you agree with me here before we move on to the next question. Oftentimes, I have found that the quietest, most introverted person in the organization usually has some of the best ideas. And we got to go to them, right?
Yeah.
Would you agree with that, Christine?
I totally agree. And that's what I think has been so fun about Amy and I. We came onto the board together, and she's the quiet one and I'm the loud one, right?
Interesting.
But it's a good balance between us. And she does have amazing ideas, and she's very metered and creative. So yeah.
Metered. That's a good word.
Yeah.
Metered.
Nobody has ever called me metered.
Well, and you also touched on the need to be creative. We can't keep solving things in the same fashions as we did in 1987.
Yeah.
Right. We got to act like it's almost 2027. And also, you kind of implied the need for dynamic solutions, right? Because the velocity, the solution we have at 1 p.m. Eastern Time might be different than what we need at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. It's crazy to think like that, but it is what it is. Okay, let's talk about one of your favorite topics, because it's also one of my favorite topics, and that's reverse logistics, returns management. I'm going to try not to make this a 30-minute question, but there's so much going on in a space that has been overlooked for so long.
Yes.
And with the rise of e-commerce and the rise of, call it whatever, omni-channel, power to the consumer, free and easy returns, unfortunately, it is what it is. It is a space that is really becoming more formalized, more innovative, and hopefully we're going to see a whole bunch more education to keep helping the evolution in this space. So, according to the National Retail Federation, in 2024, $890 billion in returns in the U.S. alone.
Yikes.
Oh my gosh.
It's crazy.
And as I heard last week at an RLA event, the founder of, I'm going to say this, I might get in trouble later, but the founder of Walmart's and Home Depot's reverse strategy said that it's a highly fractured space, that no one's got like more than 1% of that 890 billion. So, what's one of your favorite innovations you've seen lately in the return space?
So I don't really know if I have a favorite innovation, but I can tell you what I did to innovate our space. So I like to think I made sustainability and circularity really cool before it was cool back like in 2016. But I was the leader and the manager of the reverse logistics team at US Cellular for 6 years. And so I had everything from reverse planning for all our service programs, so then test and repair of our devices, and then returns management, and then when I took over the team, they called it liquidation, and I thought that was such a negative term that I turned it around and we called it re-commerce. And so we started with a strategy and went to the executives to sell it. And so we broke it down into meaningful projects, and we showed ROI. And so my team and I got the first one approved. We implemented it, which was basically cosmetic sorting of our returns when they came in of the devices. So when we went to repair devices, we weren't picking the smashed ones, right? We were picking the ones that were really good cosmetically, because the screen is the most expensive thing to replace on a device. And so we had our ROI of like 8 months on that. We did it in 2.5 months. And after showing the executives, they're like, go for it, do the rest of them. And so we had this 2-year strategy that we implemented. And at the end of the day, we made reverse logistics at US Cellular a profit center. I had a dashboard that showed all my costs and my touches. And then I could show, well, here's the revenue I made on the opposite end. And I had, once again, a very creative and innovative team. We found partners to work with. Because a lot of times, right, like you don't have those capabilities in-house,
right,
but you can be creative and find those partners outside to help you. So we found partners that would sell our really good like return accessories and devices where we didn't have demand on their eBay sites and their websites versus us building our own e-commerce platform.
Amy, I love it. I feel like I've gotten a master class in reverse leadership.
Exactly. Now you understand why I was like, oh, Amy's got to talk about her work at US Cellular and reverse logistics. Yeah.
And one last thought before we move on to CHAINge here. We were talking about this pre-show. Rich Bolger is a dear friend and an incredible leader, and he really got me thinking, because I've been so focused for years. I hate returning stuff, and of course, for so long, so much of returns have been diverted straight to landfill. And of course, things have changed a lot. But Rich really got me thinking, hey, we don't need less returns. Once we have that circular model really fine-tuned, we need more returns, because it can be a revenue, to your point, it can be a revenue center.
Yep.
It makes the customers delighted because they're getting the latest model, right? So that's all about the customer experience.
Yeah.
And since it's sustainable and circular, we're getting components for the next batch of products.
Correct.
It's really a terrific win-win-win. Do I have that right?
You have that right.
And that's exactly largely what you did.
Correct. It's exactly what I did.
Yeah.
Man, that is outstanding. Okay.
Before it was sexy.
Yes.
I was doing that before it was sexy. Yeah.
Okay. We're going to have to back on to talk about returns
Yeah.
and reverse. So,
Absolutely.
Christine,
Yes.
before we shift gears, your comment, do you return a lot of stuff?
Probably more than I should. I'm not a huge, shopping for me has to almost be online. My friends would tell you I'm not good at, I'm the person that holds the bags and finds the bar when we do a girls trip, because it's just not my thing. And so I will say I've gotten really spoiled with, I buy it. I might actually order it in 2 sizes because I don't know which
Bracketing?
one. I don't know which one is
man.
going to fit. Like, yeah, I need to be better.
Well-
I need to be more responsible.
We're only kind of halfway kidding, but all of us are consumers, obviously, and all of us, as all the rest of the consumers, are going to do what organizations allow us to do. And one of the tidbit from this private leadership event I was at last week, one of the leaders have been around in the reverse space for decades, talked about how in Japan they don't have nearly the returns challenge because the retailers and the community and probably the government really set different parameters. But of course, over here in the States, it's like you want to return that, and send it on. So naturally, we've got a challenge that we've got to solve, huh?
Yes, we do.
Okay.
Stay tuned on more reverse and returns
No,
talk.
but I want to dig into this event because
Yes.
Amy and I are both long time ASCM Apex members. So we're at Chainge, totally, rebranded conference. Talk to me about what's unique, what's different about this event versus previous ASCM events, or even, you and I, we both go to a ton of other events. What's different about Chainge?
I think a couple things stand out for me. So yesterday, ASCM had their first Chief Supply Chain Officer event here, and I was blessed enough to be invited and attend, and that was amazing to have some additional fireside chats with some of the key speakers, interact with my peer group, right, and be able to network with those that are here. So I left really energized after that day and those presentations. I think this year, the themes, resiliency, and what we need to do, and a lot of talk about what we're all dealing with in the supply chain, I think has really elevated the conversation here, where it's not just, I'm learning about what someone did in their demand planning. It's, okay, let's talk about the tariffs and how did you solve for that and what are you doing? And really, even some of the main event presentations like Henrik, getting you thinking about the strategy in the future and what do we need to be thinking about for that supply chain of the future.
I like it. Who's saying we can't stop thinking about or dreaming about the future? I might be butchering that. Don't stop thinking about tomorrow. That's it.
Yeah, there you
That
go.
is, who is that? All right, that's going to be a trivia question.
I was going to say,
Don't stop thinking
we all
about
know it because we're like in the
Dude.
same generation, but
I
we
can
were
see
we
the
were
drummer.
like little when that song came out.
I can see the drummer right now. It'll come to me. Okay, we can't stop
Now
thinking
it's in
about-
my brain. Thank you,
Yes.
Scott.
I can't help it. But we can't stop thinking about the future because going back to the dynamicism, that's a word, it's going to keep evolving. Just because we've had this epiphany, kind of like what you've been describing, and we've got the modern approach to managing and organizing and leading, executing our supply chains, we're going to be a different spot in 2026 or 2036,
Oh, yeah.
right?
I mean, what could happen next week? You don't know, right?
Gosh, don't ask that. Don't ask.
Hey, we're just trying to get through this week.
Right. Amy, this has been great. You're a breath of fresh air, just like
Thank you.
Christine described. All right, so how can folks, I bet you do some speaking. Of course, you're out here, you're on the board with ASCM.
Yes.
How can folks connect with you, your industry leadership, what you're thinking, what you've done, or the cool things you're doing at Champro?
Yeah, so everyone can find me on LinkedIn. Just search Amy Augustine. I'm pretty easy. I think I'm like one of the first people that pops up in the search.
Okay.
So that's probably the easiest way to get in touch with me. I do respond to messages. I believe I have an email on there and a phone number, so that probably is the easiest way.
Outstanding. And you call the great city of Chicago home,
I
right?
do.
I fought through the crowd at lunchtime on a Sunday at Portillo's. Portillo's,
Oh, yes.
and was not disappointed. It was absolutely delicious.
Yeah. Christine
I
loves it.
just discovered in my new job, we're headquartered, MeBox headquartered out of Fishers,
Yes.
Indiana, and just off of our campus is a Portillo's.
It
I'm
is-
super excited about it.
So if you go to Chicago, there's so much great food. But not only connect with Amy, she's doing big things in the industry, but find a Portillo's, it's delicious. And if you pass the Supply Chain Whisperer, make sure you track her down, have a great conversation, because she's got her finger on the pulse. So, Christine, one last question for you.
Okay.
We've covered a lot of ground with Amy Augustine with Champro here today. What's maybe your favorite thought that she shared with us in the last 15 minutes?
I think it's really about like taking a deep breath and taking a step back and like calm yourself. You don't have to fix it all by yourself, nor do you have to do all of it right now, right? And I think that gets back to what I said is, Amy has a metered approach, right?
Yes.
Like just this calming influence. We're going to get it done, and we're just going to take one step and one step and one step.
I'm with you. And I'm adding a new term, new word to my
Metered.
vocabulary. That's right. Hey, there's something to be said. Steady, steady, steady.
Yeah.
A great leader once told me that there's no blinking in leadership. And now he really was speaking to that metered, steady approach. Amy Augustine with Champro, the Vice President of Operations and Supply Chain over there, also a board member with ASCM. Amy, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me, Scott and Christine.
Awesome.
All right. And Christine Barnhart, the Supply Chain Whisperer. What a great conversation here today. I look forward to the next one already.
Yes, me too.
Thanks for being here. Folks, stick around as we continue our coverage here at CHAINge North America 2025, meeting great movers and shakers like Amy and Christine. And hey, here's your challenge. Take one thing that Amy shared here today, or Christine, put it in action. So about deeds, not words. And whatever you do, on behalf of the team, Scott Luton challenge you to do good, give forward, be the change that's needed. We'll see you next time, right back here on Supply Chain Out. Thanks, everybody.